It's been quite an eventful year now, hasn't it? And while things haven't been going so smoothly on the production side of things for some titles, let's just hope it doesn't affect upcoming seasonal shows. Sometime back I made a video on the most anticipated anime series in 2020, but since you guys like fights so much, I wanted to make another video just for action series. So why don't we cut the list down to size and focus on the upcoming action anime, specifically new or non-sequel ones that are yet to be released in 2020. Video game adaptations are a dime a dozen these days, so why don't we take a look at one of the upcoming ones to start off this list. Chronicle Project Zero Chronicle kicks off this list. This tale set in a fantasy world revolving around two mythical figures, the White Cat and the Black Cat. Both sides fated to wage war get into a tangled mess as the two key figures fall in love with each other. But that's not what the story's completely about, of course. Our story takes place millennia after the aforementioned war that ravaged the land, where a hero and adventurer, Kyle, journeyed through the world of numerous islands, meeting Iris and Katra. Together, the party resolves to traverse the world in order to find the 7 great ruins, following Kyle's last words before being consumed by darkness. Sounds so JRPG and so mobile game, right? Chronicle Project Zero Chronicle launches this spring 2020, which is a very, very stacked season. Honestly, I'm not liking its chances, given that it's going to be sharing a season with stuff like ReZero, Tower of God, and SAO. Nonetheless, if you got spare time to watch a non-sequel, I think that this series ought to provide some entertainment to pass the time. Taking it a far less serious tone, President It's Time for Battle's the second video game adaptation that we've got lined up. This time, its base game is more of a strategy game where players recruit and train adventurers. And yes, it's an isekai, erasing any doubts that the genre is losing momentum in coming up with new things for the setting to play around with. This time though, instead of starring a brave adventurer set to explore worlds beyond the horizon, this series evokes a feeling more related to something like those GM modes or simulator modes you see in video games. With a trailer that's already been released, the show seems to be one of those comfy shows that you can watch in order to unwind. The character design looks good, and the premise lends itself to something light-hearted and fun. Up next at number 8 is, yet another show bound to get lost in the shuffle of spring 2020. The Eighth Son, Are You Kidding Me? Judging by the title, you guys already know what this is about. The story's basically about your classic salaryman sleeping and waking up to find himself in another world. Seems that truck gun services are constantly decreasing in demand, with these isekai characters finding ways to waltz into parts unknown without the need of getting run over. This time, our protagonist finds himself inside the body of a 6-year-old who turns out to be the youngest son of a poor noble family. The boy, Wendelin von Benno Baumeister, looks to harness his unique gift of magic in order to bring prosperity to the family. Well, based on the trailers and the poster that we have already, you can pretty much see where this is going. I'd say that if you're up for this genre, then why not give it a shot? As for me, the setting did kind of remind me of Knights and Magic, which was a show I did like in a way, so who knows? If I can spare some time between watching those awesome sequels in the jam-packed season, maybe I'll give this one a shot. Finally ending the streak of video game adaptations and isekai titles, we have Heaven's Official Blessing. For me, it seems as if King's Avatar's big success opened the floodgates for more Chinese adaptations. Heaven's Official Blessing's the next in the line of Chinese web novel adaptations, and it takes us back to the classic historical setting, featuring the staples of ancient kingdoms and the realm of gods. The series stars Xie Lian, crown prince of his kingdom, who was once ascended to heaven at a young age. Hundreds of years after the event, he once again ascends to heaven, this time as a laughingstock. Determined to shed off his negative reputation, he begins his first task as a god, one that brings him a fated encounter with a mysterious demon who rules the ghosts. However, there seems to be more to this meeting than meets the eye, and it might have been years in the making all along. Judging from the poster, it also seems primed for some bromance down the line. For those of you who like action stories with a dash of boy love, here you go. Seems that we get remakes so often now that I think it's becoming almost a staple for every season or two to have one of them. This time, our lucky winner for a modern remake's the anime of the much beloved RPG Dragon Quest. Dai's Great Adventure is set in your typical JRPG world where the great battle between good and evil has since finished. The Demon Lord has been defeated by the heroes and peace has come to the island that's since been teeming with life. Needless to say, evil does soon resurface, and this time, it doesn't seem like the previous heroes would be enough to stop him. Our modern day modern-day hero Dai now takes it upon himself to put an end to evil once more. Scheduled for October 2020, Dragon Quest Dai's Great Adventure reminds me of those good old sword and magic shows of the 2000s. Kind of something like Final Fantasy or Beat the Vandal Buster, if you guys are old enough to remember the latter. At the halfway point, we take a look at an original anime, GB8. 2030 Japan, the hotspot of a virus infection. Man, this series is ahead of its time, as uncomfortable as this premise can be considering current events. Anyway, 2030 Japan is frankly a hellhole, one where the virus has turned people into monsters depending on their status in life. The virus is appropriately named Gibeah. Have no fear though, as time-traveling samurai and ninja are on their way. Coming in from the early Edo period, they fight together with a doctor who's trying to find a cure for Gibeah. Facing off against threats from all angles, this ragtag band seeks to survive and find a way to end the plague in Japan. Overall, the anime does look really stylish, and it will surely be filled with action. Now, whether the stylish flair would only be what they are is yet to be seen. With GB8 set to release this July, we don't have too long to wait for this one. Studio Wit is at it again with its next project, the original anime Great Pretender. First unveiled in Anime Expo 2019, Great Pretender looks to be a unique anime revolving around the concept of con games. These con men make their rounds all over the world, doing what they do best while having their dangerous adventures. Life can be a dangerous game, and Edamuro Masato and his partner Kudo are out there living life on the edge. Based on what we know so far, Great Pretender looks to be one of the more realistic anime out there. The action will be there, but it will be more subdued. I think the main attraction for this anime is going to be the play on mortality, the crisp art, and the comedy aspects of it. After all, these are con men we're dealing with here, only that they go after the bad guys too. Studio Wits made a name of Attack on Titan and the several attempts at cloning the blockbuster like Carboneri and Serap of the End, but Great Pretender looks to be a nice, daring attempt at something just a little bit different. Only time will tell if it will recreate the magic in a different way. We start off our top 3 with a bang, featuring a much-awaited anime adaptation of one of the biggest webtoons from Korea, God of High School. God of High School's come a very long way. First premiering in 2011 as a webtoon, basically a webcomic, God of High School and the proliferation of webtoons in the English-speaking market seems to be intertwined. Almost a decade after its initial launch, it seems fitting that it would finally get an anime adaptation by Mappa. God of High School is about Jin Mori, a 17-year-old martial artist from Korea. Cocky and headstrong, he claims to be the world's strongest fighter. His days of glory would come to an end when he encounters a blonde man who then invites him to a martial arts event called the God of High School. Predictably, Jin gets knocked out by the blonde man, putting his ass in its place and showing him that he's got a very, very long way to go. Nonetheless, there's no mountain that can't be scaled, and Jin's foray into the world of martial arts truly begins. Now, do you think that's going to be it for webtoons that are slated to become anime? Think again. To follow up, we have the number 2 spot being occupied by another hyped Korean series, Knobblies. If you've been a fan of Korean webtoons for a while, surely you'd have heard of Rai and the Nobles in one of the biggest Korean series that's out there. After getting some adaptations of sorts in the previous years, we're finally getting a full-length TV series of Knobblies. Long story short, Knobblies tells the story of your overpowered vampire character who finds himself in South Korea after a centuries-long slumber. Setting off to find his loyal servant, Frankenstein, Rai, our main character, enrolls in a school where the former is the director in his attempt to adjust to the modern world. Being the Knobblies and pretty much the most powerful noble vampire back then, that task might not be the easiest ones to tackle for our protagonist. With a huge fan base backing it up, Knobblies is set to be one smash hit that will take the anime world by storm. There is one problem though, it's not even the most hyped Korean anime that we have coming up. After all, we have this next title topping the list. Yes, the only one that can match Knobblies in a list like this is one of the few series that eclipses it in popularity. 25th Balm's story of scaling the titular Tower of God has captured the hearts of many webtoon fans both in and out of Korea. Scaling the tower while holding on to the chance to reunite with his friend, 25th Balm braves the deadly tests and the perils that await him on each floor. The main question for me is how far they'd go for this adaptation. With Tower of God easily being one of the longest series out there with some of the most amazing world building around, I think that it'd be a shame if we were to be left hanging in the anime adaptation. With everything else considered, Tower of God looks to be up for a strong debut. Set to premiere this April, it's primed to go toe-to-toe with the onslaught of sequels to popular series, and I'm sure that everything coming together will make the April season a major blockbuster to look forward to. Now that's quite a list, isn't it, if you ask me? My takeaway from this is that there's a lot of shows based off non-Japanese materials that are showing a lot of promise. It looks like the world is slowly catching up, and I think that it would only be a matter of time before Chinese and Korean titles end up on the same level as the ones from Japan that we've all grown to love. With all the sequels of popular series headed our way in addition to those titles, the rest of 2020 looks to be an amazing year in terms of anime. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already for more anime updates, and I'll see you next time on ViniiTube.